guys, welcome back to the tour. Today we're going to do my summer 2020 houseplant tour, just to show you everything that's different with my plants. I've done some rearranging, we've had a lot of growth, and I just wanted to give you an update on what's happening. So we're going to start here like we always do on my little cabinet. There's my regular ZZ plant. We have the lemon lime philodendron, this starfish sansevieria, and my whale fin sansevieria that hasn't really done too much lately. I had to tape my ZZ together because the branches were getting really heavy and it was like leaning, but it has grown so much. That's that area. Then we walk over here. This is my samurai sansevieria that I got from Groovy Ranch Plants. These plants aren't normally here. They're normally outside on my patio, but I just put them here because I didn't feel like putting them back in the window and then taking them back outside. But here's my braided money tree and my single trunk money tree. These guys suffered a little damage from the aftermath of the spray that I use, the dreaded spray that I'm always talking about, but they seem to be on the mend, so I'm glad that they're doing okay. Here are my 3 ficus. Here's the burgundy, the ruby, and the taniki. And this leaf is new. This leaf is still coming out, and I believe this leaf is new. But all of these give me about 1 new leaf a month, so that's really cool. I might have to repot this one. I have to double check on that. But I definitely had to repot this one because the roots keep wanting to grow on top of the soil. But I really want to get a taller pot. Since the roots are so extensive, these definitely need taller pots and not so much like a wide pot. So I will be getting that once the stores come back in stock. We've been having an issue with our terracotta, we haven't had any terracotta pots. This is my philodendron McDowell. I really love this plant. This plant usually stays outside on the patio. This is the newest leaf here. Let me back up so you can see it. So let me just show you the evolution of this plant and show you like what the light, how much light changes the look of your plant. But this was the first leaf. I believe this leaf didn't have any like as much natural light. It was mostly like a grow light that was kind of far. And as you can see from the petiole, it's really long. So that's another indication of this long petiole, this etiolated petiole in this small leaf. Then I believe this was the second leaf. As you can see, it's much bigger, and the petiole is a lot shorter than that one. Then this was the third leaf, still quite big. You can see that the petiole is shorter. And then lastly, with this leaf, you can still see it's a nice size, and that is a nice length of petiole. That's the shortest petiole I've had. So with this leaf, this has been outside the entire time, so you can see that the more light that you give a plant, the bigger your leaves will be and the shorter the petioles will be. So that's like the ideal situation for most plants. If I come over here, this is my syngonium section. If I back up, this is my jade from Steve's Leaves. Is doing really well. I cut off, if you see my unboxing, it had a lot of big leaves in the newer leaves that were coming in when are a lot smaller, so I cut off the big leaves so it could have like a more uniform look. But I like this a lot better because it was looking really weird. Back there is my mottled syngonium. I took a lot of cuttings off of this plant because it was growing really tall like a staircase, and I wanted it to be more bushy, so I took a lot of cuttings. And as you can see, it's growing back. This is damage from the spray that I used. It's coming back and I'm really excited. This is the newest leaf, so I'm glad it's turning around. And then this is my Syngonium Neon Robusta. It's constantly putting out new leaves. We come here. This is the Syngonium Confetti that I got off of Etsy, and the Syngonium Regina Red that I also got off of Etsy. These two are similar. However, this one stays more dwarf and compact. This one is still compact, but it's a little bit taller. And then here's my Syngonium Chia Pence. This had 2 leaves when I got it, back in May, I believe. Here's my Syngonium Auretum. I don't know if this is variegation, but I keep getting this patterning on the leaf. But these are the new leaves. The new leaves keep getting this patterning, so I'm not sure if that's variegation or not. This big one is my Syngonium Albo. I just had to repot this one here. I wanted to take it down to show you guys how it looked, just so you can see it. It'll be quite hard to do that with one hand, but this plant's doing really well. I might end up taking cuttings just to, you know, put the cuttings in the bottom here so it can be more full instead of being so tall. Then if we come over here, it's my begonia area. Here's my maculata. It's getting really big, constantly putting out new leaves. There's a Malacosta. And unfortunately, here is the luxurians that I just got. I'm kind of disappointed about that plant. I should have followed my instincts, but the soil composition for Steve's leaves, it didn't have any perlite or anything in it, and I knew I should have taken it out and, you know, put my own soil mix in there. But Steve's leaves has a 30-day policy of replacing plants, so I left it in the soil mix, and then it just rotted. So I knew I should have just went with my instinct, and that's kind of one situation where you know you should go with your instincts, but I didn't, and that is what happened. So maybe I'll have to get a new one in the future, but I am a little bit disappointed with that one. Here's my big begonia Tamaya. She's still blooming. I am not sure why her stems here are, you know, twisting and turning. She's definitely got a lot going on, but she is massive. Massive. And I had to repot her because she kept drying out. I was having to water her like 2 or 3 times a week. So I don't know if I want to prune her back or what, but she's just doing this right now. Up here are my 2 compactus. Sorry, it's backlit. Probably won't be able to see these, but this is the variegated and the green variety. Down there we have my Hoya Princess, the Rubra. Someone said this is a Chelsea in my last video. And then we have my Polynora. Over here we have my Alocasias. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to keep these Alocasias, but they are doing really well. This one's putting out a new leaf here. And as you can see, the last new leaf is pretty enormous, as well as it keeps putting out these pups. My Maharani is doing pretty well. It's putting out this new leaf here. And the other two are the same new leaves that it came with. That's the only one that lost the leaf, I believe. And the Frydect is doing the best here. This is the newest leaf here. It is huge. It's got a new pup growing here. And then I'm already putting out a new leaf. So this one's doing really well. And as you can see, the Tamaya drops its blooms everywhere. That's the only thing that sucks about that plant is the amount of times I have to vacuum. But that's what the Alocasia looks like with that new leaf. And this one had 3 leaves when I got it. So we are definitely breaking the 3-leaf curse. Oh, shoot. I skipped my other Syngoniums. Haha. This is my Syngonium Pink Splash. That's the new leaf there that it's putting out. And it's got a new leaf coming in there. I think this one came to me with 3 leaves. So this one's doing really well. I might have to end up moving that one because it's getting really tall. Down here we have the Erythrophyllum, I think that's what it's called, Lana Carter Road. This is the Rayi. I think I snapped the new growth. If you can see, I think I snapped the new growth and then it like caused the plant to push out all these little growths, which I think are so cute. And the new leaves that are coming in are a lot more green than the old leaves. As you can see, the old leaves are black. But these new ones are coming in a lot greener, which I like that a lot better than the black leaves. But it's pushing out a lot more growth now. And then here we have the Winlandii. I think this is the newest leaf and it's putting out another one. This plant's doing pretty well. I kind of want to do something to where it'll be more bushy, but I'm gonna wait and see how it grows out. And then this one here is the Magic Marble. It's growing really well. It's getting really bushy. This one, it turns all the time. As you can see, the stem's there, so I have to keep making sure that I rotate this plant so that way it's not growing all to one side. So now that concludes my Syngonium section. As you can see there, the Begonia / Hoya section there. Here we have my ZZ from New Life Tropicals. It put out a little growth there, but you know that growth there has been there for a while. This is what's left of my Aglaonema pictum tricolor. That plant. Here is my Syngonium macrophyllum from Steve's Leaves. As you can see, it is definitely doing a lot of growth. I don't know what I'm gonna do when it reaches the top. I might cut it back and then put it, plant it back. I don't know. But this plant grows all the time. This is the newest leaf. It's so pretty and soft. And it's putting out a new leaf here. If you come over here, this is my Philodendron melanochrysum. Try to pull it out so you can see it. Doing well, and it's definitely got a pregnant bump there. So I'm excited to see how this one comes out because I see that a lot of people have difficulty with this plant in terms of new leaves coming out. They do need a lot of high humidity because when the new leaf comes out, if it doesn't have enough humidity, it'll tear itself apart coming out, or it'll get stuck, or it'll grow through another leaf. So I'm interested to see how this one's gonna come out for me. This is my first leaf that I'm getting on this plant, and I will say that I'm a little nervous, but that's what that one looks like. Here is my Varicosum number 2, as it was listed on Equigenera. This is the newest leaf, my first leaf that popped out. It looks really good. It's already got a new one in the background, but this one hasn't really hardened yet, so it might be a little bit for that one to come out. Here we have the Varicosum Amazonas, and as you can see, I have 3 points of growth on this plant, and that was from chopping this guy was one stem, and I chopped it in half, and so now I have all these points of growth, so pretty excited about that. There I just have some propagations that I'm not sure if it's gonna work, so we'll see. Here's my anthurium, a little bit of an anthurium section. Here's my anthurium forgetii. And as you can, I don't know if you can see that, but let's see. There's a little point of growth here. If you can see that, that little thing is growing. I didn't lose any leaves with my anthuriums, acclimating them to my environment. And this is the first leaf that it's putting out, so I'm happy about that. Here's my queen anthurium. She still looks good, no crisping. This is my Anthurium veitchii that I got from eBay, and it was from Eldon Tropicals, I believe. This plant came so crazy. When it delivered, the soil was so wet that the bottom, it was in plastic but in a container, and the bottom was just leaking. It was so wet. It was like muddy, and then the top of the plant was like not even in the pot. It was just insane. But I ended up repotting it, so that way it didn't rot or anything. And then this is the leaf that it gave me. Here's my first Anthurium clarinervium. It's doing really well. It's giving me 2 leaves. I accidentally broke the tip off of this leaf when it was coming in, so that's why it looks like that. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really kind of irritated with myself that I did that, but I'll get a new leaf. It happens. It's not the first time that I broke a tip off of a new growth. Down here we have my Squammy petiolatum that I potted up because the roots were looking good. There's my fibrosum and my Squamacale that has a new point of growth here. Up here we have my Philodendron Golden Dragon that I got from Green Spaces. There's my Anthurium pendifolium, which only gave me 1 leaf, but it is a big leaf, if you can see that. That's the 1 leaf that it gave me, although it's huge. Here's my Philodendron mammy and its newest leaf that looks amazing and is pretty big, actually. It's a lot bigger than this one. But this one looks really good, and it already has a new leaf in there wanting to come out. Down here I have my Philodendron Birkin and my Ring of Fire. This leaf here in the front is the newest leaf for the Ring of Fire. I don't know if you can see that. There's my dog being nosy. But this is the newest leaf here. And then it's already got another one coming. I might put this outside to see if I can get more coloring in this plant, but we'll see. That's what it looks like. Here we have my Syndapsis exotica. This leaf is new, that leaf is new, and this whole cluster here which I'm really excited, and I'm kind of curious as to why the newer leaves are coming out more silver. But I really love that it's coming out more silver. That one's new. But this plant's getting huge. I might have to end up repotting it. So as you can see, it kind of needs like, I think the roots are getting a little tight in there. Here we have my Aglaonema with chocolate, which is doing so much better now that I have the care and, the care right. And this is the newest leaf, but it's giving me all these new leaves. And it's even got another one coming there, but it's doing so well now that I got the watering down and that it's under this grow light. It just grows really well here. Here's my Sansevieria Mikado, like the miniature fernwood. This is my Scindapsus argyrius, and it's getting a mixture of big leaves and then the smaller leaves. But this is a really full plant, as you can see. And it's, doing all this trailing here. Well, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this plant here. I just like how full it is, but future plans, I'm not really sure. There's my Aglaonema, the one that starts with an A. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I got this one from, I think, Lowe's, and it's flowering, putting out a lot of leaves. That one's doing really well. My Aglaonema seem to do really well under the Growlights, so that's where I have most of them. Here's my Philodendron gloriosum. This was the last leaf that it put out. It's so dark and rich. I think these got a little bleached out by being outside. But this one looks like a really good one. And then it also has this leaf that it's putting out here. I would like to get the leaves to get bigger, but it's still like a juvenile plant, so I do feel like they will get bigger, so that's fine. Here is my Anthurium metallicum. I gotta figure out where to put this plant so that the leaf isn't doing this thing. So I'm gonna look for somewhere else to put this one. I figured putting it off to the side would be good because these plants don't really like too much direct light. Here's my Anthurium clarinervium. It had one fluorescent that I cut off because it was dying, and this is the newest one. I don't cut these off because it lets me know that the plant is happy, and it doesn't take too much away from, it putting out other leaves, because this was the last leaf that it put out. And as you can see, it's putting out this leaf, which is huge, and it's still not hardened, so I'm not sure how much bigger it's going to be, but this is definitely a really big leaf. It's a lot bigger than all the other leaves. As you can see, that's the older leaf, and then that's the newest leaf. Like, that's huge. So the inflorescence definitely doesn't affect the growth of the plant, so I'm going to leave that. Here's my Thai constellation, big baby. This is the newest leaf. I think this was the oldest leaf, and the one before that, so it's put out these 3 leaves for the growing season. So this one's doing really well for me. I don't really care if this plant has a lot of fenestrations because it's still doing well and it's still growing. So I'm not that person who's like, oh, I need to have like a fenestrated plant. Like, I want all the fenestrations. Like, it's still doing well and putting out nice sized leaves, and that's how big it is. So yeah, and as you see, my plants are getting big, and we're going to run into an issue where I'm going to have to rearrange to, make up for space and things like that. Here's my Tetrasperma. This thing is big. Look how big these leaves are getting on this thing. It's like pterodactyl sized leaves. Like, look how big this leaf is. It's way bigger than my hand. And then the craziest thing, if you guys watched my last tour, I had broke the tip off of here. Like I always end up breaking tips. And then, I don't know how I'm going to show you this, but when I broke the tip of this plant, it put out this branch, and the other branch on the other side. So I broke the tip off and I got 3 branches on this plant, if you can see it. And it put out growth points all the way from the bottom to the top. So sometimes when you break the tip off, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It could really help the growth of your plant. But this is the original tetrasperma. And then if you remember from my last video, I had a ton of the tissue cultures. So I just stuck them in the bottom here to give it a more full look. But all these really big ones are the original tetrasperma. And I'm probably going to have to put this on there and then start taking cuttings, even though I don't really need any more tetrasperma, because as you can see, it's quite a lot of tetrasperma. Here we have my Lecturiliana. My Monstera Lecturiliana. I wasn't sure how this plant was going to do because the 3 original leaves were really like a yellowy neon color when I first got it. But I kept watering, kept fertilizing, and just taking care of it. And then it popped out these leaves. And these leaves are a lot bigger. Here's the old leaf. Here's a new leaf. They're so much bigger, fuller, and greener than the old leaves. This one is huge. You can see that there. And all the newer leaves keep coming out bigger, fuller, and longer. And it's already putting out a new one there. Here's my Rhaphidophora decursiva. This one's doing well. All these top leaves are new. And then it's got new growth down in here. So this one's doing really well. I love like all the Monstera-ish plants are my favorite. Here are my 2 Syndapsis. This is the splash that I got from Gabriella Plants. This plant did not do well for me at all. And when I pulled it up finally, because I couldn't figure out what was going on, I saw that half the plant was rooted and the other plant wasn't, which was kind of frustrating that you would receive a plant that was only half rooted. So I had to root half the plant and then pot it back into the pot, and it is doing so much better now. It's giving me all this growth. This is the plant that has like turned around the most for me. And it was really frustrating to see that I was losing it. This is my Silvery Ann, just doing pretty good. I like to have these plants here because I just feel like, you know, I'm on the jungle floor, even though it might not seem like that. Here is my Monstera Adansonii. This is the narrow form. I hope you guys can see how big it is. This is in a 16-inch pot. When I got it, it was in an 8-inch pot. Due to our pandemic shortage, this was the only pot available, shockingly. And so it was really overgrowing and it wasn't staying moist. So I plopped them, both of these, in 16-inch pots, which I never recommend to go up that big of a size. But that's the only thing that I could do for this plant. They only have 16-inch pots at my store. I only recommend you do this if you're really good with your watering. Otherwise, you will kill your plant doing it this way. But like I said, this went from 8 to a 16-inch pot. So I'm hoping that I don't have to repot this for a while and it can just stay in here along with its big brother, which is the wide leaf form. And that's what that one looks like. This one has really big leaves. This one's also growing really well for me. my two big boys. Up here, we just have my miniature starfish. We have my lucky red aglaonema, which I'm finally getting the care of. We haven't lost any more leaves. I think when I first got it, I lost 3 leaves because I didn't know the watering. There's my moonlight sansevieria and my zizi zenzi. Going past my monstera. Here's my monstera Peru. This plant is doing really well. I propagated this plant and stuck a couple stems in the bottom, so it's growing all along. It has a couple new leaves in the bottom, as well as these are all new. This whole thing is new. These are all new, and I have to get this be put back on the moss pole. But I'm probably going to have to take more cuttings of this one because I don't want to make the moss pole any taller. So that's what we're going to have to do for that one. Here's my pink moon aglaonema, the night owl, I think it was night owl sansevieria, and then the cylindrica. And then here is my Scindapsus dark form, which mine is not as dark as others. It's more green. So the dark form, I can see that it can be black and it can be green. So I got the greener form, which I'm not really mad about because I do like green and not so much black, so it works out. This one in the front is the newest leaf, and then it's got some more growth coming out. If I come over here, this is my Monstera stanleyana. I'm getting a little browning here. This plant needs to go outside to get a lot more light. So I'm going to put this one outside. But as you can see, this plant started out with a more white variegation. And I have this plant in front, directly in front of a east window. That's why the variegation's so stark. And then as you can see, we come up, the variegation is changing. The leaf changed and the texture also changed, which is interesting. Here we come up, see the texture of the leaf change compared to this where it was a lot smoother. And see how it's like more wrinkly. But as you can see, this plant put on a lot of growth and the variegation is coming in more yellow. So I'm not sure if that happens with all stanleyanas, but with this plant, I'm getting both variegations, and you can really tell here that it's yellow. You can see that. But as you can see, this plant has really outgrown its moss pole, so I either need to extend the moss pole or I need to chop. And I'm still thinking about what I want to do. But I just think it's interesting that I started out white down here and we're yellow up here. I think that's pretty cool. And like I said, the texture is a lot different. Back there is my big boy sansevieria. Here I have my Scindapsus moonlight. This is growing really fast under this grow light here. So I'm going to keep it because it's growing a lot faster than it did in front of the window, which I find interesting. Here I have my green stanleyana. This one's also getting really tall. I tried to do some propagating here to make it fuller. All of these shiny leaves are new. So it did get fuller. It did put on a lot of growth. These are all new. I need to get these to be back on the moss pole, but I'm gonna have to do clippings or something. As you can see, is with the current theme of my collection, that everything is overgrowing. And then here, I'm gonna have to take a step back, is my big boy monstera. This plant has been with me for, I think, 2 years. Got this from Chinatown, and he is doing awesome. I keep having to rotate him because he will grow to all to one side. And all these leaves are new. It put out like 6 new leaves when I moved it here and put this grow light here. Because as you remember in my last video, it was over there. So it really likes it here, and this is probably where it will stay. But just to get you a good look, he is massive. He will stay in that 20-inch pot because I cannot deal. And just to look at these huge aerial roots is just insane. But just wanted to give you a good look of my Monstera, Stanleyana, Peru, Adansonii, Thai Constellation, Tetrasperma. Everything is really growing. I'm running out of space. There's Sagey Boy being nosy. Look at him just looking at me like that because he knows I'm talking about him. Here's my palm. She's still doing well. I love her. This is one of my favorite plants in my collection, is my asparagus fern. Look at all the growth that plant put on. When I first got it, it was just this little chunk. And all this is just so cool. And it's so fluffy. This is a newer frond. When the frond comes in, they come in like this. They evolve to this, and then eventually to this. So this plant just makes me feel like I'm in an African safari. I love it. Look at Sagey Boy. He's my favorite. But let's just try to give you a pan around of the growth and the plants. You can really see that plant leaf is huge. Varicosum. How big my migdal is. My begonia. These plants are going back outside. And now we're going to go into the bedroom. Right. So starting off in the bedroom, we have my 2 aglionemas. We have the stripes. These are new leaves. This one puts out a new leaf like every 2 weeks or every week and a half. That one's doing really well. This is my sparkling Sarah. So pretty. She's putting on a ton of leaves. And I love this one. And then here's my Aglaonema cutlass. That one's doing really well. Getting new leaves, as you can see there. And I have a ton of flowers. And these Aglaonemas here are what frustrate me about that Pictum tricolors. I have all these Aglaonemas in my collection, and I even want more Aglaonemas in my collection. But that Pictum tricolor, I swear, is a thorn in my side. Here's one of my twin snake plants that are putting off some growth. It's got some pups in the bottom. I haven't repotted this plant in like 2 years, but I think it's doing good. Here are my ferns. I have my staghorn fern, my Micans that suffered with that damn spray. Ugh, but she is pulling through. The crispy wave fern, my crocodile fern, which has gotten massive but attracts so many spiders. I always see webs in this plant and it's about to go outside. My pothos, I'm not really a fan of pothos, but this one's okay. I am so sad I burnt this plant when I put it outside, but this is my zebra fern. I might have to get another one if this one doesn't recover, but this is one of my tragedies. This is my French fern. This one doesn't like to get its fronds wet. This is the anema fern that I found at Lowe's. Here's my Mandula pothos, my marble queen pothos. Here are all my strings of hearts. That's the green, the glory, the string of spades, the variegated, which has gotten really long, and then another green that's blooming. I need to pay more attention to these plants. I think all my hanging ones I kind of neglect, except for the ones that are in my other window, but I definitely need to water these ones. And then if we come over here, my little sitting area, I have my Philodendron Brazil, another Sansevieria, that's another twin. It's also putting off a lot of growth and growing whichever way it wants to. Here's my big boy that was abandoned by my mom. And I took him in, and he's doing wonderful. There's my Burl Marks, which is one of my favorite plants. Oh my goodness, I love this plant. Oh, these are all new leaves, and they're getting so big, and it's putting out so many more. This plant grows super fast. If you want a fast, super chill philodendron, this is the one. I love this plant. And as you can see, I really like my common plants. I have, you know, all the fancy ones, all the trendy ones, but this one here, oh, I just love it. It's putting out more growth on this side. I constantly have to turn this plant because the stems will go all to one direction. But I love this plant. I have some cuttings of my Adansonii. Here's my Nangrittense philodendron, still in the nursery pot. This is from Ecuagenera, and we're finally getting this new leaf to come out. And I think it is going to be a nice size. This is my Philodendron Plymanii from Green Spaces. I'm waiting for this little guy to come out. Here's the Atabapoense, the newest leaf. This is the last newest leaf, and then this one, and then it's got another one, if I can find it. It's got another one coming in right there. Here's my two philodendron heart leaves. Another one of my favorites, as you can see, the trend, green, luscious plants. But as you can tell, it's my favorite because I have two, and I normally don't have doubles in my collection. This is my other love. This is my Philodendron pedatum, and I love this plant. This is my baby. This is the newest leaf coming out here. This was the last newest leaf, and the two before, and I just love the shape of this, and just the lobes are so cute. This is one of my favorites. I'm not really sure what happened here. I don't think this is a variegation, but it's really interesting. But this is my baby. Here's my Sansevieria Bantal. I have the big stalk propagating in water, and it already has a huge pup like this big. I got this off of Etsy, and the roots were trash. Absolutely trash. I had to cut them off and reroot them, but it's doing so well now. I had to reroot it because I had noticed that it was always wrinkled, and I couldn't figure out why because I was watering it like every 2 weeks or so. I looked at the roots, they were just looking like ramen. So I cut them off, and it's doing really well. It's propagating in water, and I'm going to put it back in there because it should be ready now. Here's my Philodendron squamiferum. This plant's doing really well. Don't mind my macrame. This was the newest leaf. The last one, it's put out this one, and hopefully it gets a little bit bigger than this. Otherwise, I won't be too disappointed because, you know, I got so many plants that are growing that I don't want them all growing huge. I will definitely have an issue. But I need to make moss poles for all of these plants. So that's what I'll be working on this week and this weekend. Because most of these plants are climbing plants. So they need some support. Here's my little Monstera section. This is the newest one I got. This is the Monstera subpinnata. This one is a trooper. I just got this plant. It was in the mail for like 7 or 8 days. And for 7, oop, no, it's stuck. Let's see if we can finagle it. Okay. For 7, now we're gonna make a mess. For 7 to 8 days, it doesn't look bad. Don't make fun of my socks, I like these. But this looks good for 7 to 8 days. And this leaf in the front here is the new one, but this looks good for being in the mail so long. So Monsteras are such hardy plants. Put that there. These are my two, what is it called? Siltipicanas. I had one before, and it had some kind of weird bacterial issue. So I got rid of it because I didn't want to, because it was all over. I mean, all over. I didn't want to infect my other plants. So I got these two just in case something happened. I lost one. I still have the other one. But I think I'm just going to put these together because they're already growing to the top of their poles and off the poles. I think I'm just going to combine them so that way I don't have I don't like to have a lot of duplicates. So I think I'm going to combine these two. I think I'm going to wait till they dry out because I think I might have just watered them. So I'm going to combine these two. I'm not sure if I want to make the moss pole bigger or taller. So the plans for these aren't really solidified, but I know I want to combine them. The leaves on this one are a lot smaller than the leaves on this one, as you can see for size. So I think that's what we're going to do. Not sure if I want it to get taller. This seems like a pretty good size. I would just want it to fill out. But that's my Monstera section. Put that back there. Here is my Philodendron Soderoy. This plant hasn't given me a new leaf, but I think it's been working on roots. Because as you can see here, it's put out these 3, and I believe those are new roots. So I'm fine with that. I'm not really pressed about getting a whole bunch of growth, but that's what this one looks like. This was a new leaf when it came in, and I was surprised that it didn't get damaged. But I'm really happy that, you know, it came in really well. This is my Philodendron Verrucosum melanochrysum. It is just so beautiful. Has minimal damage. And this growth point is doing well. I'm glad that didn't get damaged when it shipped. I have to make moss pole for this one. I don't know if I'm going to make a moss pole for this one. As you can see, I have a lot of moss poles to make. I have about, I don't know, I probably have about 10 moss poles that I need to make for my collection. But I definitely need to make one for this one. I hope this plant just gets huge. Like, I might make a tall moss pole just so this one gets nice and huge. But that is that section there. As you can see, it's very jungle vibes. Favorite baby. I love those two. I'll have to make a video on my common plants because they are some of my favorite in my entire collection. But that's how that looks, and I just think it just gives me jungle vibes, but not too overgrown. It's just enough to be jungly but organized. I kind of have like a jungle slash museum-esque look going on, and I kind of like it. But yeah, that's how that looks. I don't really want to show you my bed, but that's how that area looks. This kind of looks fairy tale-ish to me. I would love to have my heart leaves here trailing down. I think that would look very cool. There's those aglaonemas. So yeah, this is the plant tour. I forgot to show you guys my Dischidia ovata. That's doing super well. It's getting really bushy, although it's backlit. And it's got this long vine, as well as my Hoya linearis, which all this is new. This branch for some reason isn't growing as well. And then it's got this long branch here, which I'm gonna propagate this longest piece so that way I can put it back in here. But I'm excited for this one. I had intended to buy a bigger one of this, but that didn't really work out. But this one's doing really well. I just want to insert this because I left these two out, but just wanted to show you those. At the end of my plant tour, here's an overview of the main area, how the plants are looking. We have a lot of growth. I have a lot of decisions to make, whether we're gonna chop, we're gonna prop, what. I still have to think and, you know, ponder, but that's how my plants are looking. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I will be there to answer them. But I hope you enjoyed. I've been a lot more relaxed with my plant collection. We are not helicopter parents this time around. I just let my plants go. I water them once or twice a week, and that's about it. My humidity is still high. The temperature is still high. I don't have my AC running. And I think that's attributed to a lot of the growth that you see here. But I hope you guys enjoy my plant video and you like my tour. Say bye to Sage because he wants to pout now. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.